Amanda's quickly become a fan favorite on 1,000 Pound Sisters.
Amanda's our older sisters.
Sometimes it even seems like she and Chris are Amy and Tammy's parents more than their actual parents are.
Here, Uncle Chris. Mommy gonna help with Gage.
But did you know that there's actually a much darker family dynamic under the surface?
My big brother, my big sister, she was just testing them. And then I come along with all my glory. Then the mold got broke with Tammy and Amy.
Just a few seasons ago, Amy and Tammy said that they don't really feel like they fit in with the rest of the siblings, and now we're finally starting to figure out why all of their siblings are suddenly on the show all the time after so many seasons.
We don't really see much of Amanda.
And guys, the reason is honestly pretty crazy. So Amanda has become a huge character on 1,000 Pound Sisters, and she's really been making it seem like she's super close with Amy and Tammy, which is obviously pretty crazy since that's not what we've heard from Amy and Tammy before at all. And I mean, they've always used to talk about how they felt like outsiders among their siblings. So what is actually the truth here? You know, honestly guys, the truth about Amanda's relationship with her siblings is just seriously crazy. So Amy and Tammy said in season 1 that they don't really get along with their siblings, and they claim that in the past Amanda, Misty, and Chris used to be really mean to them, and there's even evidence of some of that in some of their older, YouTube videos, especially when it comes to Chris, because the two of them said that they always felt like outsiders of their siblings, but now all of their siblings have joined the show, and it doesn't seem like there's any bad blood between them at all. And Amanda is the most recent one to really join the show, and honestly, I feel like she might just be the best addition yet, because she always seems to be looking out for Tammy's best interests, and she's just always real with her words, but not to a crazy degree where it would be too rude or hurtful. But the weird thing is, this doesn't align at all with what Tammy and Amy have said about their siblings before. So the question is, what is actually going on here? Because the obvious answer is that maybe Amanda is just playing nice because of the show, and there's a lot that she could gain by appearing like a caring sister on the show. And I would hate to be right about this, but she could totally just be using Amy and Tammy for fame and money. And it really seemed like she didn't care about them at all much before, but now that they have a show, she obviously has something to gain by being nice to them, and maybe she was jealous of Amy and Tammy's fans and wanted some of her own, so she joined the show, and plus she gets to make some money off of it too. And although realistically the money is not going to be all that much, because it is a known fact that TLC doesn't pay their reality stars very well. I mean, honestly, even Amy and Tammy have been struggling financially despite being the stars of the show, and Amanda most likely gets a lot less money than them since she's not the main character. But why would she finally decide to, join the show then if it's not for the money? And obviously it could still be for the fame side of things, and a little bit of extra money is never a bad thing, and even if it's not that much. But I actually think that there could be a whole other side to why she suddenly appeared pretty much out of nowhere, and it's possible that it wasn't actually so much her idea that she should become a regular on the show. So it would actually make completely perfect sense for TLC to be the ones who asked her, not the other way around, because she's honestly pretty important since she keeps the plot of the show pretty interesting. And I've even seen theories on Reddit saying that this might actually be the reason why all the siblings joined the show, not just Amanda, because season 1 worked great with just Amy and Tammy, but by the end of it, Amy had made a lot of progress in her weight loss journey, and Tammy was just kind of lagging behind her. So they couldn't really make season 2 with the same format of two sisters trying to lose weight together. I mean, there was just too much of a gap between where Amy and Tammy were in their journeys, and Amy had her, bariatric surgery while Tammy had failed to qualify for it. And Amy also became pregnant in season 2, so she had to put her weight loss on hold until the baby was born, and TLC needed someone who would keep trying to lose weight along with Tammy, and maybe that's why they brought Chris in at that point. And also, they already knew that the show was successful, so that could obviously afford to bring in more, main characters. And initially, when 1,000 Pound Sisters was starting out, it was a risk for TLC to give Amy and Tammy their own show, and there was no way to know if the show would do well or not. So having only two main characters made it less of a financial risk for sure for TLC, and since they only really had to pay them as the stars, and later when it became clear that people liked the show, they knew that they could afford to bring in Amy and Tammy's other siblings. And I also kind of think that only having the two of them for the first season was actually a part of the reason the show did so well, and it just made the story simple enough that it was really easy to follow. But obviously there's only so much going on with Amy and Tammy, and their own shenanigans would probably get a little bit old after a couple seasons, and TLC are pros at making reality TV, and they know know how to keep it interesting. So if this theory is correct, then that's why they just kept gradually bringing in Amy and Tammy's siblings. And in season 4, it was finally Amanda's turn to become a major player. And like I said, this is all just a theory. And also, I think it's entirely possible that Amanda might not have wanted to have a bigger role on the show before now. And there could have been many reasons why she might not have wanted to be on a reality TV show at all. And it might be, that she just wasn't that comfortable with having her life made into a story for everyone to watch and judge. And maybe she only changed her mind about it after a few seasons of watching Amy and Tammy do it. But either way, we can't really know for sure what happened there. But then there's still the thing that Amy and Tammy said about how they weren't on the best terms with their other siblings, which doesn't exactly line up with what we see on the show. So the question still is, how close are they actually with Amanda and the other siblings? Because I actually think that it is possible that they are really as close as we see on the show, and it might just have, things have changed between them over time, and it's pretty obvious that they all grew up in a dysfunctional family, so it makes sense that their sibling relationships might have been a little toxic at first too, and that would explain why Amy and Tammy said that they always felt bad around their siblings. But it looks like they're finally fixing their relationships now, which is actually really nice to see, at least if the show is to be believed. It is reality TV, so it's always going to be staged to some degree, but I don't really think that the production would go as far as to stage an entire development of the siblings' relationships. I mean, for one, it'd be pretty challenging to get everyone to act out their scenes, but also the way things develop is very dependent on everyone's relationship, and there are always new seasons to film, so it just wouldn't make sense to show fake relationships on the show. But another thing that I've seen someone point out on Reddit is that a lot of this could actually just be the highlight reel effect. It's possible that Amy and Tammy aren't nearly as close with Amanda as it seems on the show, and the show is basically a highlight reel of the most interesting moments in all the siblings' lives, and we don't really get to see any of the mundane stuff in between. And obviously, most of those interesting moments happen when they're all hanging out together, so when you're just watching the show, you don't really get the whole picture of how close all of them really are. You just kind of see them hang out together all the time, when in reality, they probably don't do that. And from the show, it looks like Amy and Tammy spend a lot of time together with Amanda and the other siblings, but in reality, they could go months without seeing each other, and we wouldn't know about it because those times just don't make it on the show. But I do actually think that they've probably gotten closer ever since Amanda and the other siblings started featuring more frequently on the show, and they definitely have to spend more time together because of that, at least during filming. So that has probably brought them closer together than they used to be. But what do you guys think? Do you think Amanda is actually as close to Amy and Tammy as it looks? And why do you think she joined the show? Guys, let me know in the comments down below.